Hello, flower friends. If you're like me, you sometimes get bored with your same old vases. But in today's video, I'm going to show you how to take your old tea set and turn it into the cutest summer centerpiece. My name is Ellen Frost. I'm building a community of flower nerds online by sharing knowledge and creating connections. If you're a flower nerd, subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. There's a link in the description. So teapots and teacups are so cute. So today I'm going to be making a summer centerpiece in this adorable teapot that has strawberries all over it, perfect for the season, and a mismatched cup. So I'm going to be using the same colors that are in the teapot, pinks, blues, whites, and I'm going to just use a little piece of chicken wire and I'm going to turn it into a chicken wire burrito, which I just start by turning it into a tube and then folding the ends in on itself. And then I'm going to put it inside my teapot. So I'm going to start with this blue delphinium. Usually I would start with green foliage, but because this teapot has such a specific color palette, I actually don't want to take away from those colors by including any green. So I'm going to start with blue as my base color. All right, so this is just a little petite design. I'm not going to make it overly large. When I'm thinking of proportion for any of my designs, I'm thinking no more than 1.5 times the height of the vase. So this is about where the maximum height I want to be for this design. Whatever the base element is that you're using for your design, the base is going to help create the shape and the height. So I'm going to use that as my guide for the rest of my design. Next, I'm going to use another line flower, which is stock. And I want to make sure I strip off all my leaves. Stock is really fragrant. It has a really unique smell. It's like spicy, sort of cinnamony, and it's really interesting. It's going to add, for this arrangement, a nice fragrance. Since my arrangement is kind of small and my chicken wire is kind of small, I have to be a little more thoughtful when I'm putting my stems in because the chicken wire can get crowded pretty quickly. Next, I'm going to put in a filler flower. So this is cottage yarrow, and it's pretty branchy. So I'm going to get a lot of cuts off of this. I'm just going to, with my hand, you can do it with your clippers too, but it's easy to break off these pieces with your hand and strip the leaves. And then this is going to mimic that red. I don't have any true red today, but this is going to mimic that more red, that more berry kind of red. And I'm going to use this just as a little bit of filler and a little bit of a different texture, different from the stock and the delphinium. My focal flower for today's arrangement is going to be some calla lilies. I love using calla lilies. They have such a great, they're like architectural, and they last so long in the vase. If you feel them, they're sort of plasticky feeling, which for me is great because it means that they're not going to wilt, and they usually last a long time, sometimes 2 weeks in the vase. They also have a nice natural curve. They're pretty soft stems, so you can manipulate them in your design to either be more upright or to have a little bit of a curve to them. Lastly, I'm going to put in a couple of different kinds of scoop scabiosa. It is a bigger, more robust scabiosa, and the colors are so good. They really are like the super size of scabiosa that you're used to seeing or using in designs. So I want to make sure that I pop these out enough so that they don't get lost. I really want them to show off. And I've got a couple of different varieties here. I've got this strawberry colored, then I have a little bit of a blush and a white that I'm going to include. They have really long, straight stems too. I feel like sometimes the regular scabiosa can be a little spindly and a little hard to use, and I know these are more expensive for the growers to buy and for us as florists to buy, but I think they really do work better than the regular scabiosa. All right, so this is a teapot centerpiece. It pairs great with a teacup arrangement, which I'm going to show you next, and how I love to use these as the teapot as the centerpiece, and then if you're having like a party or having people over, using the teacup as like a place setting, so everybody has a little teacup at their place setting. So this is a teeny tiny teacup for a teeny tiny arrangement, and I'm going to use a piece of chicken wire, and I'm going to ball it up. I'm going to squish it in here. And it's pretty secure, but because this teacup is so shallow, I'm actually going to put a little piece of tape over this. So I'm going to make my teacup in the same color palette that I made my teapot design so that they can work together on the table. I'm going to start with my delphinium. These are very tall and this is very short. So I am going to cut these pretty short, and whenever I can, if I can get 2 cuts off of them, I'm going to try to do that. So I'm going to cut this right here. So I actually get 2 little cuts. And these teacups are perfect for like little shorty stems that you don't have anything else to do with. And I'm making it the same way I would my teapot. I'm going to fill in first with my base flowers, which in this case are my delphinium. And then I'm going to fill in after that. These are some side shoots from our peonies. If you ever have side shoots that you have to cut off of your peonies, just hold onto them in a little vase because they will continue to open, and they are perfect for a tiny little teacup design like this. This one might be too big. Let's see. No, it fits great. All right, I'm going to use a little bit of this yarrow as my filler. So same thing, I'm going to cut it nice and short. I know that our farmers always try to give us stems as long as possible. That is a quality issue because for florists, that means that we have the flexibility to use them in lots of different ways. I know that the growers always cringe when they see us cut these long, beautiful stems down into a teeny tiny arrangement. However, they've given them to us in the perfect size so that we can use them for all different kinds of designs. I have this rose from one of our local rose growers, and you can see that it has multiple heads on one stem. This is tricky to use in like a large bouquet or in a centerpiece because I often feel like I have to trim down some of these stems. But in this case, I can actually cut these little short side shoots and use them inside my teacup. It's pretty much finished, but I do want to add these blush stems. There's a little bit of a different shape and texture. Get creative with whatever tea set you have at home, or check out your local thrift shop and try to find a teapot or teacup that would fit your design. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and if you're a flower nerd, subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. The link's in the description.